Hi, this is Cherry. I'm at the 2017 Los Angeles Auto Show, AutoMobility, and I'm talking tech and automotive with Mark and their company, Ridecell. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Sherry.
Now, can you tell me about Ridecell?
Absolutely. So Ridecell makes a new mobility platform. Now, that actually means we do make car sharing and ride sharing software for companies that recognize this is a burgeoning industry and they'd like to get in it without having to create their own software from scratch.
Now, how long have you guys been around?
We've been around since 2009. So we're one of the first to recognize. In fact, the name Ridecell means get a ride with your cell phone.
Now, that is a clever play on words.
So the focus that we've done, initially we had our own ride-sharing service, and customers came to us and said, oh, this is so great, you've developed, can we use your software? We said, absolutely, and we discovered that there's a fantastic market to powering other people's car-sharing and ride-sharing services.
Now, can you tell me a few of the companies that you are partnering with?
Certainly can. BMW is an investor in us, and we power their services in Portland, Seattle, and Brooklyn. Their service is called Reach Now. We're also powering AAA, the Northern California Auto Association. They're based out of Berkeley. And also Volkswagen, for instance, we power their service in Poland.
I guess ride sharing is international. Now, you mentioned that you're in marketing and you work with their partnering. What does that entail exactly?
Yeah, so I head up marketing and strategic alliances. So we provide the software platform and the service platform, but we don't provide everything that a company needs to get started. We don't buy the cars, we don't make hardware. So what they look to us for is, okay, if we want to get in this business, tell us what we have to do. And we can point them at companies that put telematics in vehicles. We can help them with insurance. We can even help them find companies that will move and clean the cars. So there's a lot to keeping a car-sharing fleet on the road. It's much harder than having a ride-sharing fleet where the driver is responsible for doing everything. In car-sharing, the people who own the cars have to understand when they need to have their oil changed, when the car's dirty, and they've got to keep them clean and operational. So we help them with all that.
That is really interesting because I've been fascinated with the startup industry, and it seems like a lot of companies seem to replicate the same basic thing. So this is a way for a lot of companies to get into the business without having to start from scratch.
Absolutely. We're 135 people now. So there's a dedicated engineering team that's focused just on this. We've been building it for the past 4 years. So it would be tough if you want to get into the business and you think this is a great opportunity. The opportunity is not going to wait. There'll be a lot more competition in the future, so we recommend just work with us and you can get into the market very quickly.
Now, your company is a little bit different than others because it seems like you focus working with the businesses versus a smaller company that's doing it for themselves and doing the ride share and using other people's cars. Do you offer any business alliances with people who use it the other end as well?
So most of our customers are customers who realize that at some point down the road, if their business depends upon private vehicle ownership, they're going to need to change their business. Because 10, maybe 12 years from now, we're all going to be riding around in autonomous vehicles. We don't need to own the car. In the same way that you don't need to own CDs anymore, we just listen to Spotify or Apple Music. The car companies, especially auto dealers, realize that, hey, we might be the next Blockbuster Video, so we've got to get in on this new on-demand thing, and we don't know anything about it, so hey, Ridecell, can you get us hooked up? So companies like auto clubs realize their customer base is getting older. They want something relevant to millennials, so the Northern California Auto Club started this car-sharing service, and it's been great. People in Berkeley and Oakland love it.
So I'm very curious. It feels to me, since I'm someone who grew up in the Midwest, which is more car sharing because it's just a lower population density, I've noticed a lot of these companies seem to focus on large, big cities. Have you noticed that in the demographics of the companies that use your services?
Right. The services are a lot more applicable to urban areas. So we'll have, by 2050, 66% of the world will live in dense urban areas. So the population's migrating to these centers. And in these areas, it's really expensive to park, and it's expensive to live. And so if you can get rid of the cost of owning a vehicle, parking it, having to find parking on both ends, we will really help people simplify their lives So in the future, the expectation is when autonomous vehicles are here, the cost of riding around in an Uber or something similar will be about half of what it costs to drive your own car. And when it's better and cheaper, that's when the world switches over. But you're right, in the Midwest, where there isn't that population density and maybe it's cold, nobody wants to wait for a car, they want to get in and go, people will still continue to own cars. This isn't saying anybody has to take their car away from them. It's just a nice option to have, especially for the younger generation where cars are not as much of a status symbol. Getting the experiences of getting places, getting around, and not having to be worrying about spending their weekends washing and waxing and getting the oil changed is a freedom that people have when you don't feel judged by what vehicle you drive.
Well, I'm fascinated by Ridecell as well as the different companies because I've seen the BMW app, which looks totally different from some of the others. Do you all work with the different vendors that use your services? Do you work with your vendors to make it individualized with the color scheme and everything?
Right. So the application that you'll see on our boards here is just a sample. We have a design team, and we work with our customers' design teams to help their look and feel. So the feature sets are unique to our customers as well as the visual identity of the application.
Now, with your company, how do you all find clients? Do you reach out to prospective clients, or do they come and find you?
So in the world of providing car sharing and ride sharing platforms, we're the only company in the world that does both. So the big companies that aren't sure what they want to do, they just know this is going to be huge and we better get in it now, choose us because we have the most choices. If you decide you're going to do car sharing and then you think, hey, I could offer a really great ride sharing service that has, all e-vehicles, and that's something that would be different than an Uber, for instance, they could easily get into that business too. So the companies that love us seek us out because we have the most choices.
And you were based in Southern California. Northern California.
Yeah, we're out of the San Francisco is where the majority of our folks are, although there's a huge demand for our services in Europe, so we've opened up an office in Munich and have got a team there now too.
That is so exciting. I'm fascinated to see what the future of automotive ownership, driving, and sharing will be. Thank you so much for telling me about Ridecell.
All righty. Thanks so much, Sherry. Appreciate it.
Have a wonderful LA Auto Show and AutoMobility.
All righty. Cheers. Thank you.